I am told this is a pad mount basketball hoops. What I mean by that, we got to pour a little concrete pad with bolts sticking up to bolt this thing down to the concrete. That looks like it's just a little thin piece of concrete. No, we actually need to dig a hole, pour a nice concrete footer with a flat surface, install the provided J-bolts. So they sent you some number 3 rebar, and they actually even took the time to grind the ends so they're not nice and pokey, which is kind of interesting. We need the rebar, we need the J-bolts, we need this guy. And this is pretty cool that they already got this made for us, because I thought we were gonna have to make one, but it's gonna be your template. It's gonna hold our J-bolts in the concrete. And the holes are gonna be in the exact spot for the base of the basketball hoop. Everything's gonna fit 100% perfect. And the J-bolt's gonna go just like this. So the threaded rod's gonna stick out of the concrete and it's gonna stick in the concrete. These 4 bolts is what's gonna be holding the basketball hoop and keeping it from tipping over. So what Cliff is doing here is he's getting the J-bolts oriented in the template. The template's gonna hold the bolt, and it has 2 nuts, so that way the nuts can compress and hold the J-bolt exactly where it needs to go. Your bottom nut's gonna be your leveling nut for the basketball hoop. So how we get it perfectly level and plumb. How we get it perfectly plumb. Because it's not level, it's plumb. We'll tighten these down, it'll get stabbed into the wet concrete. Right now, I'm gonna start clearing that gravel out and dig a hole. So we're to the point right now where we're gonna go ahead and we got our hole laid out, we're gonna drill it and pour some concrete. But the one thing that we didn't mention that you gotta do before you get to this point, get your locates. Know where the utilities are. We got our locates, make sure to get your own. It's gonna fit our little thing just fine. And it wants you to go to 48 inches and we did that. So like boom. And we're gonna have concrete encasing all this. And that's one thing you wanna make sure and do. You wanna make sure that your concrete goes outside of all your J-bolts. Just do it right, do it once. And of course, don't forget, you can absolutely hand dig this thing. And that's what I would have done if I didn't have that. I think right here on this section up top, I actually am gonna get out my bar and I'm gonna go just a little bit wider so that way I can get a little bit more coverage around my J-bolts there. I mean, I got like that much, but I wanna see like that much. Yeah, that's it, that's the last one. Make sure you get all that loose, all the loose dirt out, because if not, you're gonna have settling issues. And then your basketball hoop might like lean, all sorts of funky things if you don't get all that loose dirt out. That's like 3 or 4 wheelbarrows of dirt. I hope we brought enough concrete, because if not, we'll go buy some more. We're gonna use the exact same stuff that you're gonna go down to the local hardware store and buy yourself. 60-pound, Quikrete, ready mix concrete. Throw it in a wheelbarrow and mix it. 24 by 24. So we're gonna build a little bit of a form, and it's just gonna encase the concrete, give it a nice presentation coming up out of the gravel, give us a really nice overall finish. But if you don't care, you really can probably just like stick up out of the concrete and then go for that. But I'm gonna do this different. Thirty-two. I think if it was July, Cliff would be going to the store right now and we'd be seeing if we could cook an egg on this thing. I mean, it's September and this thing's already pretty hot, but that's not what we're here to tell you. So we got our concrete form made. So now we're gonna go ahead and start mixing concrete and get everything set. And as you can see, there is plenty of room for said basketball hoop. So the wetter you make concrete, the weaker it is. We want this more to be like a yogurt or a milkshake. We don't want it to be like a day-old ice cream. So if I throw too much water in there off the get-go, we're gonna need to throw another bag of concrete in there. There's no way I could ever do that again. I was telling him this morning how much concrete we needed to pull, and I had like 5 other people that were asking me questions. And I was like, I don't know, pull 16. That's where it got us. That's pretty good luck. Two and a quarter, 2 1/4, 2 1/4, and 2 1/4. We already inserted the rebar. Sorry, we didn't get that on camera because Cliff come over here and snuck it in there. But that did go in. And that is something that we could all agree on to disagree. Wait, you're gonna assemble the hoop tomorrow? You're not gonna let that sit and wait for 2 weeks? No, it'll be just fine. But if it's your pad and you're a little scared and you don't want to, that's up to you. But we're not gonna wait. Now, the reason that we're tapping the form, that's to get any air bubbles that are in the side of a concrete. If you've ever seen somebody like an exposed patio and you see some concrete and then a gap in there, it's an air pocket. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get those air pockets out and get it to fill in with concrete. So the way you can do that, just tap your form, get your air bubbles out nice and gently. I'm not talking like swinging like that. Just nice little, just a little tap, tap, tap-a-roo. Level and level. We're gonna pull these off tomorrow, start building it. We'll see you tomorrow. All right, this looks pretty good. And this tastes pretty good. We did get a nice broom on it last night. We're gonna go ahead and pull the stakes and we're gonna start building a basketball hoop. Couple of these bolts are a little leany. I think it's gonna be all right. I think we're gonna be able to slide that base plate on just fine. And before we start building, we're gonna do that just to make sure we don't have any issues.
Oh, look at that.
I wasn't even worried.
You just look at it. Did you put washers on?
Of course I didn't. I just wanted to make sure it was gonna fit.
Well, it fits.
Now when you go up and down like that, you don't want to score all your threads, because if you do that, you're gonna have a really hard time getting that nut back on there. So kind of be cautious of that, protect them. And really just do exactly what we didn't and put the washers on first. So he was leaning just towards the driveway here just a little bit. So what I'm doing is I'm turning the bottom nut to push that post back that way. Are you good there now, Cliff?
A little bit more.
So we're gonna go underneath again. We're gonna raise it by turning it just a little bit. If you turn one, you gotta turn the other.
Love it.
So right now, as I tighten this nut, I'm just sandwiching all this together. So I'm not putting a lot of pressure on the J-bolt that went into the concrete. We have these little protector caps, and they just go over the nut bolt, just like so. Kind of like that same plastic cap that you'd see on a toilet. All right, I'm gonna tell you right now, we're not 100% following the manual. The manual kind of shows that post going on a couple sawhorses, and then you're building the framework on it, and you're adding a bunch of weight to it, and then you're gonna install it. I'd rather work off of a ladder, I think. Safety is all on you. You do you, but if you do choose to do the sawhorse method, they do tell you how far apart you should put your sawhorses. I don't think I've ever seen that before in any instruction manual. We need this page.
Peace gone up.
Easy, easy peasy. Throw that thing away, we don't need it anymore. I got it figured out. Okay.
Good. The last little bit of that is going to be free floating.
At this point, this might be a place where you might want to have like a little walk behind like this, or maybe you would want to build it on the ground and have like 4 people helping you. Because if you assemble the whole thing, you got to stand that whole thing up. That's a lot of weight. And if you drop it, you're going to shatter it. You got to order another one. It comes from China. Who knows how long it's going to take. We're going to use this. We're going to lift this up into that arm, into the cradle, shove the bolt through, and tilt it back. See how it goes. Scary, scary moment. We already have the main bolt in for the backboard, so we're going to roll the backboard back to the support arms. Okay, so if we followed the manual and we built it on a set of sawhorses, how many guys do you think it would take? I'm not talking about like our big guys that we have in the company. I'm talking about like regular normal sized people such as like myself, because I'm just a little guy.
That box was heavy.
You'd have to have 2 people hold it up, and then you'd
At least.
2 people to hold it up, and then 2 people to bolt it in. So I think 4 to 6 people on this thing. We're still not done yet. All right, so who would have thought that you could actually buy a decent basketball hoop on Amazon? The only thing that's not included is the labor. That's nowhere to be found in the box. You have to self-provide that. There's only one thing that we have left to do, and you guys have probably been wondering the whole time why we didn't do it when we pulled the stakes. We got to pull this concrete form off. The whole reason that we left that on there is while we were working around it, if we were kicking this, we didn't want to risk chipping the concrete since it is still pretty green. We wanted to just protect it. And then now that we're done, we're going to pull this off. Put our weed mat back. I think this concrete is only about like 18, 19 hours old. For people that don't believe about concrete or what you can do within that first day. And this just proves how strong concrete gets over time, and it's only going to get stronger. But we have our anchor point here, and all of our weight is right here. If it was going to fail, it would have already failed. So this is not like a dig a hole, a couple bags of concrete. If you need to dig the appropriate hole, if the rebar doesn't fit, don't cut it. You need to dig the correct hole is what they're calling for out in the spec. Even though you might think it's ridiculous, it's because there's a lot of pressure here. And especially when Michael Jordan shows up and decides to bounce on the rim once or twice, he always shows up. Hey, hey, nothing from the peanut gallery. Now with this particular basketball hoop, this is how you're going to raise and lower it. And you can go to a lowest height setting of 7.5 feet. Oh snap, there's a garage door there, and we're going to run the car into the basketball hoop. That's not true because this thing's going to go all the way to 10 feet tall. Okay, that's your max height. That's 10 feet to the top of the rim, exactly. Your vehicle has to be 9 feet 4 in order to hit it. That's a pretty nice basketball hoop, if I do say so myself. Woohoo! The NBA has been looking for me for a long time. It's Dan with SWI, and we are Wyoming's Fence and Gate Company. Hope you have a good dang day.